The high efficiency of a velomobile is a combination of its low coefficient of drag and its tiny frontal area. As an example, we will use a Milan SL, which has a frontal area of 0.41 square meters. This car has a frontal area of 2.2 square meters, which is 4.5 times as much. But the Milan also has a coefficient of drag of only 0.08, whereas the car has one of 0.33. The coefficient of drag tells us how easy it is for the air to flow around a body. The lower the coefficient of drag, the easier it becomes. So a low coefficient of drag will make the frontal area of a body feel smaller to the air, which in turn will make it easier for the body to slip through it. The car's frontal area of 2.2 square meters multiplied by its coefficient of drag results in an apparent frontal area of 0.73 square meters, while the Milan's results in just 0.03 square meters, which is smaller by a factor of 24 and just a little bigger than a human hand. The average road racing bike, with the rider on the drop bars, has an apparent frontal area of about 0.3 square meters, which is 10 times that of the Milan. It is the apparent frontal area that is responsible for the air resistance force. Now, what does that mean in terms of speed? You may have heard that going twice as fast quadruples the air resistance force. But when going twice as fast, you only have half the time to overcome the quadrupled force, which means you need 8 times the power. The air resistance force equals half the apparent frontal area times the air density multiplied with the square of the velocity. With the Milan as an example and the given air density, this part is constant. To get the necessary power to overcome the air resistance force, we now need to multiply with distance per time, which is velocity, again. So the necessary power is proportional to velocity cubed. Now let's see what that means for specific speeds of 20, 40 and 60 kilometers per hour. After the conversion to meters per second to match the units, we see that we need 4 watts to overcome the air resistance force at 20 kilometers per hour, 27 watts at 40 kilometers per hour, and 93 watts at 60 kilometers per hour. This is the reason why your everyday car can go 200 kilometers per hour with only 100 horsepower, but you would need at least 800 horsepower to get to 400. Let's look at the power we need for a certain speed, including rolling resistance. The velomobile is plotted in blue, the road bike in red. Already at 20 km per hour, the road bike needs noticeably more power, and at 30, it's no longer a contest. At 40 km per hour, the road bike needs more than 300 watts, while the velomobile just needs 100. At 50 km per hour, 150 watts in a velomobile can be sustained for hours on end, while the road bike requires superhuman strength. No world-class professional can hold 600 watts even for 10 minutes. Beyond 60 km per hour, the power on a road bike has to be measured in kilowatts, and 70 are unreachable for anyone, except in a velomobile. Many amateurs can output 300 watts for a long time. What we have ignored so far is rolling resistance. Let's also plot the rolling resistance as dotted lines in the respective colors. Here the road bike actually has an advantage because it has less weight and fewer tires. At just 30 km per hour, rolling resistance for the road bike becomes barely noticeable compared to air resistance. Whereas in a velomobile at that speed, rolling resistance is the major resistance force by far. In a velomobile at 70 km per hour, rolling resistance is still responsible for half of the total resistance force. So tire choice has significant importance. On a road bike, the point of equality lies around 16 km per hour. And now, just for giggles, let's see how the car does. Yeah, well, back to velomobiles then. Their highly refined aerodynamics let you go fast, of course, but also roll endlessly when you stop pedaling. And a downhill gradient of just 2% will get you up to almost 90 km per hour. Just rolling. However, knowing all this on an intellectual level is nothing compared to experiencing it for yourself. Velomobiles are a different world.